Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome. In today's video, we'll be conducting another extreme test of the Makita compact 18-volt 2-in-1 blower, the DUB187. We'll thoroughly explore what the 18-volt cordless blower vacuum is capable of in today's video. But before we dive in, for those of you who haven't watched the detailed review of this device yet, be sure to check it out. I'll link the video in the upper right corner on the info card. To never miss a video in the future, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. You can find the current prices to support this channel down in the video description. Thank you very much for your support, and let's get started. For the extreme test of the Makita DUB187, I used a large 18-volt 5Ah battery that I had fully charged before the test to ensure maximum performance and endurance. I then started testing the blower function of the device on a paved surface, the simplest condition. As you can see, it mainly consists of small to medium-sized dry leaves without branches or similar debris. At maximum power, the cordless blower generates a sufficiently high airspeed to handle these challenges quickly and effortlessly, as you can see in the video. Only when a slightly larger pile of leaves formed did the blower approach its limits in terms of air volume relatively quickly. Next, I tested the blower functions under a slightly heavier load, cleaning a lawn area. In this case too, it mainly involved small dry leaves, some of which were deeply embedded in the lawn, as you can also see in the video. In this scenario, it quickly became evident that the blower had a much harder time removing all the leaves from the lawn. Some leaves were so deeply embedded that I had to lower the blower completely to the ground in the test to remove them. On the whole, I can say that the device has sufficient power to handle this demand. However, it's worth mentioning that due to the air volume, the blower takes quite a long time to clean a large area completely. In such a case, it's better to opt for a dedicated leaf blower. Continuing on, I attempted to use the blower on larger yet still dry leaves. In this regard, I couldn't observe any significant changes compared to the previous conditions, as the device performed just as solidly with the larger leaves as it did with the smaller ones. However, I did notice once again that when dealing with larger piles of leaves, the performance tends to be insufficient, or in other words, the blower takes a very long time to move these leaf piles due to its air volume. Since leaves, especially in the fall, are not always dry, I subsequently conducted another test with wet leaves. However, due to unfavorable weather conditions, I had to manually water the leaves for 15 minutes and let them soak for an hour. Afterward, I recreated the perfect autumn scenario and challenged the blower with wet leaves. Initially, the blower didn't have real difficulties with the wet leaves. Just like with dry leaves, the blower undeniably has enough power to remove the leaves somewhat deeper from the lawn. Therefore, I didn't encounter major issues with the wet leaves either. However, it's worth mentioning once again that I personally wouldn't use the blower to clean large lawn areas, as the progress is quite slow. So much for the blowing function. Next, let's look at the device as a vacuum. Undoubtedly, the extremely practical aspect of this device is the incredibly fast and easy switch from blower to vacuum mode. By flipping the large switch, we can use the device as a vacuum within seconds and start sucking up the leaf piles we previously blew together. For the vacuum test, I used another freshly charged 5Ah battery and began vacuuming the small leaves. The device had no trouble with the small leaves and was able to vacuum up a large portion of the leaf pile in no time. There were also occasional branches included, which I attempted to vacuum up with the blower. Smaller branches do not pose a real challenge in this regard, as the blower completely vacuums and shreds them. However, once larger branches are sucked in, difficulties arise since the branches no longer fit through the suction tube and can completely block it. In my opinion, it's advisable to remove larger branches from the leaf pile beforehand, which significantly enhances the later workflow. I observed similar results with large leaves, where comparable outcomes were noticeable. The large leaves themselves don't pose a problem for the vacuum, but it's worth noting that sucking up several large leaves at once can also lead to clogging of the suction tube. I encountered this issue multiple times during the test. The greatest strength of the Makita DUB187 becomes evident when you have multiple small areas or corners to clean. Due to its extremely easy handling and lightweight design, it's incredibly simple to reach small corners and remove leaves where you might face difficulties with a larger cordless blower. In my opinion, it's extremely challenging for any other device to measure up to the DUB187 in this regard. Not to forget the noise level of the cordless blower, which I thoroughly tested during the review. The device generates approximately 75 decibels as a blower and 77 decibels as a vacuum. In my opinion, the noise level is not too loud for cleaning small areas without hearing protection. Regarding the battery life, the device is quite power hungry, as expected. The large 5 amp-hour battery was completely depleted after approximately 15 to a maximum of 20 minutes of continuous use, which I find sufficient for small areas. For larger areas, however, it might be a good idea to consider purchasing a second battery. And with that, we've come to the end of the extreme test. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to not miss any future videos. You can find the current prices to support this channel down in the video description. Thank you very much for your support, and until next time, take care. Goodbye.